This is part 2 in my series on good habits for freelancers, and this video is all about setting goals. In this video, I'm going to share how I think about my goals and share some goals that I'm setting for myself this year. There's tons of research out there that shows that getting really structured and clear about your goals goes a long way in helping you actually achieve them. Even the simple act of just writing down your goals boosts your likelihood of achieving your goals quite significantly, apparently. There are heaps of ways to think about setting goals, with SMART goals being probably the most popular version that you've heard of. What I found helpful is to think about goals in 3 different tiers. There's your big picture, long-term life or career goals, which I'll call guiding goals, and then there are outcome goals and process goals, which get more and more specific. I'm going to share with you here, live, well, not actually live though, because I'm editing this, but on camera, I'm going to share with you my goals this year for the independent filmmaking part of my career. Let's say my guiding goal is to become a more skilled filmmaker that people want to work with. This is my high-level, big-picture goal that guides me in a particular direction within this category. It's a good goal, but it's too vague to be useful by itself. This is where outcome goals and process goals come in. An outcome goal includes an end result that you want to achieve within a particular time frame that supports your guiding goal. With my filmmaking example, knowing that simply making more films is the only way to get better as a filmmaker, we might decide that my outcome goal is to make 6 short films in 2025. This is still quite a high-level goal spanning the whole year, but it's slightly more specific than my guiding goal. Thinking about outcome goals and tying them to my guiding goal ensures that I'm more efficient and productive with my time, because I'm aiming at a specific thing rather than vaguely just thinking about becoming a better filmmaker. If I didn't do this work of thinking through my outcome goals, I probably would spend a lot of time just watching films or watching video essays or reading articles. I would probably feel like I'm becoming a better filmmaker, but from experience I know that nothing actually makes you better at filmmaking than filmmaking. The other thing about this outcome goal is that it's the type of goal that's either going to be achieved or not. And in a way, I don't actually have control over that. And that's okay. I wouldn't stress too much if I got to the end of the year and I didn't make 6 short films. If at the end of the year I only made 4 short films, say, that's still a lot better than 0 or 1 short film. The point of the outcome goal is to take your guiding goal and get a little bit more specific in where you want to put your time and energy. On the next tier down from outcome goals for me are process goals. A process goal is very specific, it's very short term, and hopefully it's fully within your control. Your process goals should all feed back to one of your outcome goals, which is then tied to your guiding goal. You might have multiple process goals attached to one outcome goal. For my filmmaking example, my process goals might be something like spend 60 minutes 1 day per week writing scripts for short films. Spend 30 minutes 1 day per week editing short films. I've selected these 2 areas of writing and editing because it's what I find the hardest and it's where I procrastinate the most. In terms of directing or acting or preparing for a shoot, I find that stuff really fun and easy. You can see how these process goals are much more specific and much more short term. They're also a lot easier to track because in a given week you either achieved your goal or you didn't. It's also key for me that it's measured by time, not quality. There's nothing in there about how good my writing has to be or how productive my editing sessions have to be. All I have to do is sit there for that specific amount of time and do the work. My thinking is that breaking down your big goals into these bite-sized chunks that are on the scale of days or even weeks helps to keep your head down and do the actual work. You won't get as overwhelmed by the scale of your guiding goal. Once you've done all this work of thinking through goals, on a day-to-day basis, it's just about hitting your daily or weekly targets. Some people might say that these goals aren't even goals at all, they're just your process. But for me, thinking about them as individual goals that I'm trying to hit every week makes it really clear for me, and it makes them important. So there you have it. Those 3 tiers are how I think about goals. A guiding goal that is broken down into an outcome goal for the year, which is broken down further into process goals, which I just have to try and sustain on a weekly basis. I'll go through another example using the same structure, this time in the category of health and fitness. For my guiding goal, let's say I want to feel strong, fit, flexible, and capable in my body. My outcome goal might be a particular weight target or body fat percentage or specific targets with specific exercises in the gym, or even a one-off goal like running a half marathon. For this example, let's just say I want to hit 85 kgs by the end of the year. I wouldn't suggest having a specific weight target for everyone, by the way. There's so much more to this conversation than we can cover here, so just know that this is just for me just for now. My process goals might be something like this: strength training at least 2 times per week, cardio at least once per week, stretching or yoga at least once per week. So hopefully now with these 2 examples, you've got a clearer sense of how I set my goals. Hopefully it's been helpful. If not, all good, because it's been helpful for me to set my goals. There are a few other tips or points that I want to make that might be helpful in setting goals. Number 1, lower your expectations. Make sure your goals aren't too ambitious. You'll just burn out, or your life will get busy and you won't be able to achieve the goals, and then you'll lose all motivation. Like with my filmmaking process goals, I'm squeezing this stuff into my week amongst all my other work, which is why it's not actually a lot of time. If I tried to write for 60 minutes a day and edit for 60 minutes a day every day, I wouldn't last very long because I'd pretty quickly run out of time and energy with everything else that's going on. It's better to lower your expectations and stay consistent than it is to aim high and then fall off. Nick Winter's fun and accessible book, The Motivation Hacker, has some more great stuff about lowering your expectations so you can stay consistent. Number 2, check in on your goals. In another video in this series on staying consistent, I'll share some tips on tracking habits or goal progress. But in this video, I just want to mention that checking in on your goals regularly is a really good habit to get into. Maybe you could incorporate it as part of your weekly review, which you know about because you watched the previous video in this series. Anyway, just remind yourself regularly about your goals. Don't just do all this work in January and then stash it away in a drawer somewhere until the end of the year. Number 3, tie your goals to an identity. There's this idea that's apparently really helpful when it comes to achieving your goals, and that is to tie your goals to an identity. When you think of yourself as the type of person who would do something, you're more likely to do that thing. For example, if you think of yourself as a runner, you're more likely to run. If you think of yourself as a reader, you're more likely to read. This is a subtle but pretty powerful way of increasing your chances of achieving your goals. Number 4, sharing your goals with people. This is a topic where I'm not 100% sure what I think. Should you share your goals with other people? On the one hand, it can be really helpful to share your goals. You might end up with accountability partners who are basically just people that are invested in your habit or your goal and keep you accountable. But on the other hand, I'd be careful about sharing everything with everyone. You've probably had this experience before, but sometimes when we talk to someone about achieving our goals, we feel like we're actually doing the work to achieve our goals. We feel good, and we're probably getting a lot of dopamine from just telling this person how we're going to write 1,000 words of our novel every day or go for a run every single morning before work. But if you get too much of a reward from just talking about it, you might not do the work it takes to actually achieve the goal. If you hold off on telling people, it might actually keep you more focused, and you won't confuse the feelings of talking about achieving the goals and doing the work to actually achieve the goals. But like I said, I'm not 100% sure what I think about this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't seen the first video in this series, it's all about getting organized, and you can check it out up here. This was the second video in the series, all about setting goals, and in the third video I'm going to talk about actually doing the work, which is the hardest but probably most rewarding part of it all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, or you'll see me in the next one. Bye.